Custody issues are determined in a court proceeding or action by applying the concept of what is in the child's best interest based on the totality of the circumstances. Little is provided in statutory law regarding what the concept of best interest really means, and to the extent the law provides a court or an attorney guidance regarding this critically important concept, it is the case law where the concept of best interest is really defined. Therefore, there are general parameters which help practitioners understand what is meant by the concept of best interest. But anyone's given situation is so fact-specific that you really need experienced counsel to understand how the concept will be applied in your situation. For the purpose of this general discussion, custody and parenting time can conceptually be divided into two concepts, which are 1. Legal custody, and 2. Residential custody. Legal custody relates to decision-making concerning major decisions, and residential custody relates to where your child or children sleep at night and the parenting time or visitation for the parents. These two concepts can be unified in sole custody with one parent, or they can be divided between the parents as legal custody and as residential custody in many different ways. Now, with respect to residential custody, the easiest way to understand this concept is where does the child sleep at night and what parenting time or visits does each parent have with the child. Primary residential custody can be vested in one parent, and in that case, the other parent will have parenting time or visitation. You can state in any agreement where and what time the child or children will have parenting time or visits with each parent. This can be done in very specific ways or very general ways, depending on your needs. As you can imagine, parenting agreements or divorce agreements with respect to residential custody are sometimes very detailed concerning the dates and the times of regular weekly visitation, the holiday schedule, and with respect to any conditions that are appropriate or in the child's best interest. With respect to the second concept, legal custody, from a strictly legal standpoint, New York State doesn't provide joint custody as a singular concept, although parties can have what amounts to joint custody by having joint legal custody with respect to the legal issues and a more or less shared residential custodial arrangement. As I stated earlier, legal custody relates to decision-making between the parents, and it only relates to major decisions in a child's life. With respect to minor decisions or emergency decisions, usually it's a situation where the parent who has the child physically at the time will make the minor or day-to-day decisions or the emergency decisions. And with respect to minor decisions, parents should ideally coordinate these types of decisions if they can. Major decisions generally are related to education, medical decisions, extracurricular decisions, and religious decisions. Many times parents want to share the responsibility or to have joint legal custody. And please note the words legal custody as opposed to residential custody when talking about joint legal custody. An agreement should specifically state a process and procedure by which these major decisions are to be made. Usually this process relates to providing notice to the other parent that there's a major decision to be made and a methodology which the parents can use to make these major decisions. Usually this entails discussing the issue, listening to the other parent in good faith, considering the issue consistent with the child's best interest, and trying to reach some sort of agreement to resolve the issues. If the parties cannot agree, after this process, then there should be some sort of procedure in which the decision is made in the absence of agreement. Now, this can be done in a number of different ways. One of which is to state that if the parents cannot agree, then the decision is to be made by one parent, or the parents can defer to a parenting coordinator, or a mediator, or an expert in any specific field, such as a doctor, a teacher, a social worker, or a therapist. Or you can decide to defer providing for a tiebreaker with respect to any of these disputes and try to resolve the issue when and if it happens. It should be noted that with respect to legal custody, it's usually conceptually considered to be a contract between two individuals who voluntarily enter into the contract. And therefore, if one parent wants joint legal custody and the other party doesn't, then the court should not order joint legal custody over the objection of one party, because that's contrary to the concept of a contract, where the parties are entering into the contract voluntarily. I hope this general overview is helpful, and if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me.